Don't play with me. Don't do that. Play with your bitch.
Welcome back to another episode of Hypothetically Speaking. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Robinson, aka Mike Lowry. Damn, that nigga ain't missed yet. Who is that nigga? Damn, you left him open again? And next to me is my co-host, my brother
Warren Smith and the other podcast host, aka Song High, aka Throw It Up, I'm Always Open, aka Shit, Stop Playing With Me. But hey man, we got a very special guest on today's episode. We got my mentor, you know what I'm saying, the one and the only, Anthony Kimble.
What's up?
Yo, definitely got a very special guest for y'all, man. Hey, y'all don't even know, man. This man does it all.
He does it all.
This man does it all, bro. Y'all, we gonna get into it in the episode, but we definitely appreciate you for coming out. You know,
for sure,
and being a guest on our episode of Hypothetically Speaking, man.
Oh man, looking forward to it.
Cause we gotta keep it rolling. That momentum gotta keep it going.
We definitely gotta keep it going.
We lit right now.
Nah, facts.
So, episode 4 crazy. Episode 3 was crazy. Episode 5 even crazier. So it's like,
man, we got straight heat. We trying to keep straight heat with our guests. No offense to anybody that's not on the podcast, but you know, you gotta have that heat to be on the podcast, man.
Ain't no offense. Ain't no offense. Fuck it.
Nah, for real. But I mean, we all know Anthony. Well, you know what I'm saying, out here in the realm that we in, he does a lot of things in the real estate world.
Yes,
major things in the real estate world. Big development projects going on. Shoot, I mean, I don't even want to elaborate too much. I don't know what I can and can't say about this project. So, hey, just know he that guy, man. He that guy for real. So appreciate you for coming out, Anthony, man.
In the greater Baton Rouge area.
In the greater Baton Rouge area, for sure.
So they didn't say his location at all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the greater Baton Rouge area. But, I mean, he got a footprint everywhere, for real. That boy be in Houston.
True.
That boy be...
Yeah, we're trying to figure out Houston right now. Got some stuff in New Orleans. Looking in San Antonio right now. So... moving around looking for, where's the next great opportunity at?
Yeah, boy got a footprint everywhere. But, a little bit outside of real estate, though. I mean, everybody that knows Anthony Kimble knows he does real estate, knows he does development, knows he's that guy in that arena. Who are you outside of real estate?
I mean, outside of real estate, my mom and dad's kid. Just a person that, definitely that I feel I'm walking in my purpose. I know what my purpose is. I look at my purpose as, it's not just real estate. This is about, resources for me and, bringing resources in the community of folks that look like us.
Yeah.
So that's critical, whether it's real estate, investing, what I do on the nonprofit side with youth basketball, youth football. But for me, it's, I'm a person that looks to walk in my purpose and figure out ways that I can impact people and empower people, in the communities, that look like, people look like me.
Facts.
Man, that's dope. That's dope for real. You said a mouthful there about a lot of stuff that you do. We're going to dive into that in a second. So one thing, what I'm saying, with all of that stuff, like, who was one of your greatest influences in life that kind of got you into all of that stuff?
I mean, I had a lot of great mentors. I'm not a big on, I'm self-made. I did it all on my own, from the early on in my life. I mean, birth. I mean, my mother was, there for me. My dad's, been a great influence in my life. I was adopted by my dad after he married my mom. So with that being said, someone came in my life and, did their best to, empower me and impact me positively. And, I'm forever grateful for him for that. So, my parents, both mom and dad were, huge impacts on my life because I feel like my parents were very intentional. And that's a word I use a ton. But my parents were very intentional about putting things in place that set me up to be successful in life. And, for that, I'm forever grateful to them. And I would say, outside of immediate family, another person for me was Collis Temple Jr. One of my close friends, Garrett's one of his dad. But he helped me get me into the high school. I went to University High School, played AAU for him also. But he was one of the first people that looked like me as a melanated person that I saw, own businesses, own, property. And he not only, did that, he explained how he did that to us. And, he's still a mentor of mine to this day in real estate and business and in other things, personal also. And he's a person I'm, forever grateful for, and that made a, truly, impact on my life growing up and still is making an impact on my life to this day.
That's dope. That's dope for real.
And damn, you said y'all play AAU. Who was on that team?
You already said Garrett.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I would make the argument that, you know, I played on the probably one of the most talented AAU teams to, you know, come through Louisiana. So I'm not gonna say I was a star on that team at all. You know, I played my role. You know, and to this day, you know, I think, you know, sports taught me a huge thing. You know, growing up, you know, I played football in college about playing your role, but that AAU team, you know, with Garrett Temple, we had Big Baby Davis, we had David Gomez, who played at Tulane. So that, you know, Curtis West played at Redemptress. Yeah, we had some guys on that team.
Was it loaded?
Yeah, Early Doucette that played at LSU in football. We had some. Tasman Mitchell was also on that team. He was a year younger than us, but he was, you know.
Was Tyrus on that team too?
Tyrus played with us a couple tournaments, but Tyrus mostly played with the Dream Team. Yeah, he mostly played, but he did play. Him and Martin Zeno did play, you know, from time to time with us. But the real core of that team, you know, definitely was Big Baby, David with Gomez, Tasman, Curtis, Garrett. You know, those guys were, you know, definitely the core of that team.
That's crazy. That's
well stacked.
Stacked, man. You know what's even crazy though? He played basketball. I don't know nothing about his basketball career. This man went to Stanford for football.
Yeah, man. Crazy. A lot of people didn't know I really played. You know, a lot of people more known. I was more known for being on, especially that basketball team at U High with Big Baby and Garrett and those guys. So, you know, that's definitely what got more notoriety. But I ended up, you know, getting a football scholarship in college to Stanford. So, you know, started 3 years at Stanford. You know, was able to get my degree, science, technology, and society. You know, and that set me up to, you know, put me where I'm at in life today.
That's pretty dope. Talk about, what was that transition like from high school to college? So, I mean, Stanford is out in Cali. I'm talking about very, very, I know it's got to be a culture shock coming from Baton Rouge, the area, the people we around, the stuff that we do, and then you go out to Cali, going to Stanford specifically, you know what I'm saying, when people got, you know, mamas and daddies with hedge funds and stuff that they own.
Stock portfolio.
Yeah, stock portfolio, everything.
Yeah, I always tell people, you know, one thing about Stanford, it showed me a different level of wealth than what I saw, you know, in Louisiana. You know, growing up, you had a couple $1 million. To me, you know, you're rich. When I went to school at Stanford, I was able to, you know, interact people who were truly wealthy. You know, that's one thing, you know, that it was a blessing about being able to interact within that network. The transition definitely was interesting. The Bay Area is very different from Louisiana. I went to a high school that was on a college campus, so I already had of what college was, which Stanford was very different from what LSU is as college, partying, you know, the size of the school, those type of things. So being that far away from, you know, parents, close friends, definitely, you know, was tough, you know what I mean? But I was a kid that was blessed growing up, you know, whether it's with my parents or, you know, through AAU basketball. I did a ton of traveling. So I had been places already. So, but that was my first time. My recruiting visit was my first time to California, you know, and then moving to California was the first time ever living outside of Louisiana. So definitely a huge adjustment, but, you know, those type of experiences teaches you a lot. First, you know, about yourself, and also, you know, relationships with other people.
Yeah. Because you're in a whole new state.
Whole new. What made you pick Stanford?
Man, for me, it's I understood the value of education, and my parents understood the value of education and was able to explain to me, you know, and make me understand what going to an institute like Stanford would do, you know, for, you know, me personally, for my network and stuff like that. And academics were, you know, huge for, you know, myself, my family. And like I said, I wasn't, you know, a huge, you know, basketball star. Didn't really take football serious to like my junior year, so I wasn't a 5-star kid and stuff like that. So for me, it was about figuring out what was the best opportunity to set me up for life, because truly, like, professional athletics really wasn't my end-all, be-all. I knew I was capable of doing other things with my life.
It was just a gateway.
Yeah, it was means to an end.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I was going to maximize, you know, what that opportunity was.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I had this opportunity to play Division I football. I'm going to maximize it and make the best of it. But, like, you know, that wasn't, you know, going to the NFL wasn't like a metric for, like, success for me.
Yeah.
Did you go to the NFL, though?
So, went undrafted. So, I did a full off-season camp and all that with the Dolphins. Got cut there, then did some time with the Jets. Never, had an actual regular season carry, but spent the off season and preseason with those two organizations.
Oh, the bag's probably still the same, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
Right, we didn't really make a lot of money. You don't make a lot of money, especially as an undrafted free agent. You're really just mostly getting paid to work out. I mean, it's still, better than what a lot of people probably, making their day job. But it wasn't like, crazy amounts of money or anything like that. I mean, I spent that while I was in Miami. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that makes sense.
Shit, Miami for sure. And Miami expensive too. But no, that's dope. So like you was just when you was going to the NFL, was you actually trying to make it in the league? Because I know you said it was just a means to an end. Because I know you said you had other things planned.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I gave it at the time what I thought was my best shot. You know what I mean? There's things looking back when you go analyze and understand like your mindset and different things you're experiencing in life. But it wasn't for me like I needed that to feel complete also. Yeah. So I gave it my best shot. Did as best I could do that offseason in Miami. When I got released, got picked up by the Jets. In that situation, 3-4 weeks, gave it my best effort then. Right. And like from there, I was like, man, I'm tired of getting fired. So I got to go and figure out do something. What else I can do with my life.
Yeah. What did that end up being?
So went from football to Accenture. So I was in consulting. So did the consulting thing, was staffed at a project in Houston. So that took me from, after trying to figure out ball, moved back home a couple months. Then I moved out to Houston to work for Accenture. So, like 24 at the time. So, that was my intro to the corporate world. Working at a client, my client was Chevron. So working, Chevron corporate, downtown Houston, so whole nother experience, taught me a lot about what the corporate world was, right. And what also showed me that wasn't the path I wanted to take, really for my career and what I wanted to do for my day job, I guess.
Right. Do you think Stanford prepared you properly for the workforce?
I would say, college teaches you about networking, interaction with people, things like that. So I would say, Stanford did teach me, because at the end of the day, the corporate world was predominantly white. Stanford was predominantly white, and very, also, high, with lots of Asians. So, those are the people I were interacting with in the corporate world. So it definitely taught me a lot about those, relationships, people from different races, people from different parts of the country. So yeah, I would say definitely Stanford prepared me in that regard. And I mean, one of the reasons I was able to get that job was because of an internship I had at college, and my boss at the time, he had a connection at Accenture, and he was able to make some calls. And I came out of school in 2008, 2009, heart of the recession. So it wasn't like everyone was just hiring. So because of that, network that I was able to gain at Stanford through my internship, I was then able to, gain employment, at a super solid job when not a lot of people were getting hired.
Yeah, that's dope. I definitely wish I would have did some internships in college. Definitely did not do that.
Not think about that at
Definitely
all.
not. I was focused on sports, even though, But what's crazy is, how do you feel about college now, like as an institution? Like for me, I don't really, unless you go in like to be a doctor or a lawyer or something surgeon, like that, I don't really see the benefits of college. What would you say? How do you feel about college?
I mean, college, I tell people all the time, got my undergrad at Stanford, grad school at Tulane and sustainable real estate, but, my situation was unique and it wasn't what everybody else's situation was. Right. I didn't pay for my undergrad. Right. So with that being said, I'm a person that truly believes college is not for everyone. Everyone has their own path. And that path doesn't always mean going to school. I think, we need to look at trades and some of these things where you can, instead of that critical time from 18 to 24, you're going getting in debt and still not figuring out what you want to do and not really even learning any skills. Start off doing a trade and now from 18 to 24, at least you're making some money that as I figure out the things I like doing, I now have some resources to be able to push that forward. So I think it's like I said earlier, going back to that word intentional, I think one thing is from a parental standpoint, especially looking at talking about the community of folks like us, we need to realize our kids are not grown at 18.
That's a fact.
And being able to also understand that and be intentional about setting our kids up to have options on what they're able to do. And then when they figure that out, being able to show them resources and provide them resources or connect them to resources to now take that, from an ideal to something that's being executed.
Right.
So I think that's a critical part to understand that as parents, we have a role, and as kids, they have a role, and that path may be college, that path may be going learn a trade, that path might be taking time off and going travel and getting new perspective.
Yeah.
But all of those things bring value and also lead you to what you want to do.
Right. Speaking on being a kid still at 18 and parents in our community, especially trying to adultify 16, basically in high school and up, trying to adultify kids when they legit just kids. That's big in our community for sure, because it's like once you turn 18, it's like, nigga, what you about to do?
Yeah.
Like what's your your parents seem like they had intentions on like always looking out for you. Some parents, like most in our community, most kids probably are mistakes. Or like they weren't playing kids. So it's like
I really think, not to cut you off, I think it comes down to resources and abundance. And
Yeah.
I say that when I talk about abundance, I'm in the sense of having enough to provide for yourself, and then use that abundance to empower those around you. But the reality of most of the situations we're talking about, in a sense of, hey man, you 18, time to get the fuck.
Yeah.
It's because like I don't have enough resources to take care of myself. So really, I'm scraping by to take care of self and kids. So soon as it's socially and legally accepted to say, hey man, I need you to get the fuck.
Lifted,
So and get this weight off of me. I'm gonna do it. And really, that's what you're seeing. And my parents did what they could with the resources they had. They just didn't have a ton of resources. And to the blessing to them and me, I was in a situation at Stanford on full scholarship where like I didn't need a lot because we were being taken care of through school and those folks that we worked for in our internships. But at the end of the day, when I understand as a parent that it's my responsibility to create abundance and then use these resources that I create to empower my kid, and being intentional about that. And then my kid understands what their responsibility is and their end of the bargain. And we were, and it's all business. That's just family business. And, the reality is just at most of our dinner tables, we're not sitting down and talking about, that strategy and like being intentional about that and putting that play together where we're all working together. But other races are doing it, and there's people that look like us that are doing it. We just have to get more of us, understanding like that's what the responsibility is.
Got to get out of a survival mindset.
Yeah, you got to get out of our own way for sure. What's crazy about that is though, like I said this like a couple episodes ago. I think it's like how you were saying the perspectives and the horizon that people have too, because like you have some people that do have not necessarily an abundance, but they have enough to be able to maintain and keep, and they're good. But they also don't have the education or the knowledge to understand, like, give this kid a broad perspective or a broad variety of different things to do. So like growing up, all I really knew was like doctor, lawyer, school teacher maybe, but like I ain't really know nothing about real estate or no trades or this and that. So how do you think we can go about integrating that and giving that perspective to more people in our community? And
really understanding that strategy comes with all that, and going back to what you just said about not a lot, but there are kids in our, community that are mistakes, and most of I would say the majority of the time, what I see people don't really plan to have kids, and to me that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? That like, like something that's big of a responsibility that you're really not planning this out, and like, how can we, change that narrative is understanding that having a kid, raising a kid, and giving kids all of those different perspectives and all of those different tools and resources is your responsibility as a parent. And then gain the knowledge needed to do that, and then applying that to raising your kid to understand that, hey, my kid needs to understand, like, hey, how interacting with this community or interacting with this community is. So, hey, I'm intentionally going to put him in a summer camp with, you know, kids maybe that don't look like him. So, and but then being able to explain to my kid, this is the reason why we're doing this. If we are going to college and you can get into a place like Harvard, I ain't sending you there, hey, to one, you know, gain knowledge, but two, man, you need to go meet who your wife's gonna probably be. You need to go meet who your business partners are and gain their network and be able to take resources from their community and bring it back to our family and our community.
Right.
And understand that's all part of the plan. So if, hey, we're in a position where, hey, you can go take 4 years and live in Boston and, you know, gain a network, and we got the money to do that, hey, Harvard might make sense.
Yeah, that's dope. Cause my dad actually did that for me when I was younger, and I didn't really understand it or realize it until I got a little bit older. But like when I was younger, you know, I went to all black high school, went to summer lab. But during the summers, he would send me to summer camp at LSU. So like all white kids around, you know. So like it's a totally different environment, totally different, you know what I'm saying, teaching environment, from the teachers to the way the kids interact. Like it's just a whole different shift of perspective for me.
Y'all different. I ain't see my first white kid till freshman year of high school. So
you ain't see your first white kid.
I had white teachers. I ain't have no white classmates.
And like in a situation like that one is being able to explain to our kids, because a lot of times, you know, in the black community, we see the kid going to camp with all the white kids, or, you know, even from the parents' perspective, it might be, and we've seen this a lot in our community, is like whites right, and like if we get to go with do that with the white people, we better than everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And it's just saying, and I think it's being able to explain, like, we don't think we're better than anyone. Right. We're just going to understand how to interact with you, you know, and do business with these folks. Because like at the end of the day, like, you're gonna need that one day, because most like if you're doing business in the business world, like, you're gonna have to interact with white people.
That's for sure.
That's fact. You know what I mean? Like,
legit fact.
So like, you know what I mean?
My pops always said you're gonna have to learn how to operate around them. You ain't gotta like everybody, but you need to know how to operate around them.
You know what I mean? So I think it can be a thing of what I call black flight. You know, what we've seen in our communities, you know, 80s and 90s, when we followed white people to the suburbs and saying living in the suburbs is what's right, and that's where we need to be. But I think it's one of those things, you don't have to go that far, but you know, being able to put yourself in situations where you can gain different experiences and perspectives, and that's very important.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about, honestly. So
reference points definitely go a very long way in how you view things. You know what I mean? Like if you have a broader perspective and a bunch of different, you know what I'm saying, viewpoints on a situation, you're gonna see it totally different than somebody who's only had this one perspective their whole life. So I mean, the outcome changes drastically when you're able to do that. So for sure, being able to have that insight from different areas definitely.
Yeah, speaking of those like reference points and intent being intentional, will help you get to the next level, and like what made you say I'm gonna start like a real estate company?
I mean, about ownership. I mean, when it came to real estate, it was just big about ownership, and you know, that was a product that I understood how to gain ownership of, and you know, if it needs some rehab, you know, I've seen my parents rehab property. So it was a product and a process I understood. Yeah. So that's what really made real estate. And, you know, and then going from there to the, you know, I look at education and housing as two of the biggest impacts on people. So, you know, I mean, so with me, real estate was just a way to be able to positively, you know, make an impact on people.
Yeah, we definitely see you doing that now, especially in the South Baton Rouge community. A lot of development, a lot of resources, a lot of giving back to the people around here.
It's a historic black community.
It's a historic black community for sure, and he's came in and done, I'm talking about, an amazing job, man. If y'all in the Baton Rouge area or anywhere close, definitely ride through South Baton Rouge and see the things that he's doing and the things that he's continuing to do in this area for sure. When it comes to real estate and everything like that, you know, I know you got started because you know what I'm saying, education and ownership. How did you get to this level that you are now? Because like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be baffled. Like I think I know some stuff sometimes, and you know what I'm saying, I come around people like you, and you know, just people that have been doing things a little bit longer than I have, and I'm talking about mind blown. I'm like, I've seen this man write up a mortgage before. I was like, you know, you can write a mortgage up unless you was a bank.
Wrote a mortgage?
Mortgage.
Never write a mortgage.
This boy just be doing anything. So how did you get to the level where you understood the ins and outs of this game?
Not to cut you off, we just seen him turn up on the appraiser.
Oh, for sure. We turned up on the appraiser too, man. I mean, he be doing it all. Like every time.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, every time I think about, like, you know what I'm saying, I feel like I got a little handle on something. Okay, I feel like I can maneuver a little bit. I learned a good bit from him. I turn around, he doing something else. I'm like, bro, you writing a mortgage? What? So how did you get to the point where you know what I'm saying, you learn how to finagle and move and understand this game like this?
I mean, understanding that every day is about learning, and that being able to humble yourself and saying, I don't know it all. I think that's a big part of it. Facts. And saying, hey, every day I have things to learn. And I think another part of it is just realizing that we have such a access to information these days that you really absolutely. Can you can Google anything, you know what I mean? And I learned most things about Googling and reading and understanding that if someone else is able to do it, whether it's a bank or talking about mortgages, it's well, banks write mortgages, so it's there's something out there that tells you what's in those mortgages, you know what I mean? So just and always just continuing to I want to access information and saying just for me not knowing or not trying to learn is just not good enough. And I think that's one thing I always try to tell myself is be better than yesterday. And being better than one of the things being better than yesterday for me is having more knowledge and more information than yesterday. If I lived 24 hours and I didn't gain anything, gain any knowledge or how to do so or a better way of understanding things, I didn't get the most out of that day. And I think it's all about all us maximizing that time that we have here that we don't know when it's going to be over. So I wake up every day, man, just trying to continue being better than yesterday and always looking to gain more. And
that was something I actually kind of picked up from Nick Saban back when I was younger. For real, it was the saying he said. He was like, you either get better or you get worse every day. And that's something that I heard from him, and it stuck with me back when I was in middle school.
And that's the day you knew you weren't going to Alabama.
Man heard about the process.
I actually felt like, man, Alabama was dope. I would have loved to have gone to Alabama, but it wasn't about, I don't know. I just did a lot of stuff that wasn't smart. You know what I'm saying? I realized as I got older, I thought I was as focused as I was supposed to be able to get to the next level to do stuff. I definitely was not as focused as I needed to be. But that's just stuff you learn, you know what I'm saying, as you get older, and now I can apply that in different aspects of my life. So the businesses and stuff that I have, learning, getting better every day, you know what I'm saying, acquiring mentors and stuff like that to learn from and get better every day. So it's definitely about bettering yourself every day, like AK said. You got 24 hours, and you're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. So for sure.
Facts. What's the most memorable moment on your journey so far? Because I know you just got the 40 under 40 last night on Forbes.
Congrats about that.
I ain't need them people to validate. I think things that memorable for me is and it's not really just always one event. It's getting to work with my parents, you know what I mean, every day. So that's not just one event. That's something. And I think it's what's memorable, what's memorable and impactful and makes me happy. I think it's being able to visualize these things and execute, and then they come into fruition.
Manifestation.
And then and being intentional about that life I want to live, and then creating that, and being able to continue to do that, and because something I especially 25, 30, going into my 30s, I'm 35 now. I would say to myself, you see people you go to school with, they're always posted throwback Thursdays, their high school and the college times was
that's their best time.
Yeah, the best time in their life. And I literally would say to myself, I didn't want graduating from Stanford to be the creme de la creme of my life. You know what I mean? That's the thing, in my 50s, that I'm still sticking on. I went to Stanford, because that's the greatest thing that I've been a part of.
Right.
Because typically what people want to talk about is the time they were great or the time they were part of something greater. So since Stanford is seen as with such status and such greatness, so I'm gonna tell of my association with that because but no, for me it's always been I'm gonna keep creating these great moments, and keep creating this life that I want to live, and that's what's gonna continue bringing me happiness, and my happiness won't be coming from I'll never post throwback Thursdays of me playing football because like that was a chapter in my life. I enjoyed it. I have great memories from it. But it's done.
Yeah,
it's over. Like, you know, I don't want to go play ball. People always say, like, you'll never think about it again. No, I don't want anyone to fucking tackle me. Like, no.
So I'm 35. I'm tired of being hit, man.
Yeah, bro, please do not touch me.
Oh man, he's speaking truth though.
No, that's facts.
I know we know a lot of people who we went to school with. It's just like, man, you remember that party we went to, man? That shit was crazy. I'm like, yeah, but you know, I'm on other shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to a greater party. Like I'm trying to like do something. Like I did live on Sunday. I'm trying to go to Ibiza now. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do something and like see what that be like.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to Budapest, Tokyo, all that, man.
Yeah,
like
trying to definitely travel. Get to the point where kind of like how you was talking the other day. When, you know what I'm saying, where you could wake up at 10 a.m. and go jogging.
Yeah, if that's what I want to do, and that's what my happiness is in that season.
Yep.
You know,
10 a.m. just wake up 10 a.m. and go jog.
That might be if I need that break, and I that might be my happiness for a season. I want to be able to go do that.
Right. Okay, the freedom.
Yeah. Be able to get up and go jogging at 10. Not saying that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, it was just like the freedom aspect.
To just go do that whenever you want, you know.
Without having to worry like, damn, what I got to do today.
Right. Yeah. Or I got to go do this job, or I got to go, you know what I'm saying, make this happen, or I got to go whatever, you know what I'm saying. Definitely want to be able to just get up and move how I want to move. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Because what he's saying is true. Because people, if once they graduate high school or college, that's their greatest memory until they have a child, and that child becomes their greatest memory or their greatest thing. Because that's all they have. No disrespect to people with kids, but that's who don't further themselves or have a growth mindset. But it's like you're more than what you think you are in your environment. I always say that probably in every episode. Like, please leave your environment and get a new aspect of life because wherever you at, like I'm from New Orleans, grew up, all that. Y'all know the story. So seeing AK, my mentor Julian, how they operate, and Julian not even from New Orleans. That boy is from Oakland. So it's like. It's just good to have people like that in your circle and in your life that just show you a different aspect of how thing is. And AK he from the hood. Well, I'm not gonna say from the hood, but he from BR. So it's like you know what it is, but he left and got a different aspect, and that's how he became the man he came today. So that's all I'm saying is, man, just get a different reference point because that shit matters.
Reference points.
And I mean, even going back to that is don't put yourself in situations where you even gotta lie and say. Some of these things that are not even being great experiences are great because, like, I'm not creating that life I want to live. Like, I've seen people that tell me, like, their kids are the greatest shit ever. And I'm like, well, you're struggling to raise them. You're always complaining about how bad, you know what I mean? And to the point, it's like, is this really that great of an experience? Like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, because you had this kid that you wasn't intentional about and didn't have any strategy, and now you and this person are not together. And, like, really, this shit sounds like a headache.
Yeah, for
and
real.
like, but then I have to lie to myself and say it's this great experience. And like, having this kid changed my life when it's like, really, this shit sounds, it's not really that great, but it's like I'm not creating those experiences and those memories I want to have. So literally it becomes a thing. I'm literally lying to myself.
Every day.
You know what I mean? Like we say that kids, we say that, weddings or all kind of things. It's like, hey, if you don't do these things, or like where you're able to do them, or you're able to afford to do them, and like you create problems in your life, and then you get say, hey man, that was the greatest experience of my life. The wedding you're still paying for, and like or the wedding that like what I mean. Now after 5 years, I'm not even with this person. Like like it's like let's be intentional and let's live in reality and really create that life we want to live instead of creating a life where literally we have to lie to ourselves to say that this shit's making us happy.
Right.
And niggas do that all the time on a daily basis.
And it's gotten worse with social media because, I mean, you can just put whatever you want on there and that's your life.
Yeah, nigga gonna believe it for sure.
I mean, that's crazy.
I know a nigga right now who is a fashionable basketball player on IG, but that nigga is not hooping in real life like that. So it's like... Nah, it's just a facade, man. Like, Ash Cass told me one time, I chopped it over him one time, he was like, man, IG the club. Like, IG the club, man. Niggas just pay to get up in there, see the women, all that. He was like, man, but niggas gonna do whatever they want to do to get to the women, too. So he's like, man, you gotta watch yourself. And I was like, damn, that's actually true, Ash Cass.
Yeah, I never thought about IG as the club. That's crazy. Damn, you pay to get in. People go be at the club dressed up in their
best. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, that's wild. That's wild.
Speaking of all that, man, speaking of memories, all that, man, what's something, and being from the hood, BR, all that, man, what's something people seem to misunderstand about you?
I mean, I don't even sometimes really care to always be understood. I mean, because at the end of the day, too, I'm one of the people that I do want to have my privacy and live my life. And like I never did it to like for the notoriety or anything. Like I did it like to like figure out what my purpose and like to be able to impact people and like that's who I am and that's like, you know what I mean, and that's all I want to be. And you know, if certain things I do understand is gonna come from that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, crazy. I'm not even from. I grew up in a little small town called Marganza to like, you know, elementary, middle school. Real poverty. Like my grandma lived in like a double wide trailer. You know what I mean? It was 11 of us. My mom had me at 17. So like, I'm a kid, but I will say by the time I was in high school, like we did live in the suburbs. So you know, I look at that, you know, as a kid to seeing both sides of the track.
Yeah.
Also look at that as like my parents were part of the black flight that we didn't need from our community. So like, you know, I always tell my pops like, you know, we first lived in Mall City, then we lived in Chippewa in like 38. And I always tell, you know, like my pops, like the kids in Mall City needed him as a mentor, not the like white kid in Oak Hills, though, like where my parents live now. Yeah. But like understanding that dynamic, understanding that like, hey, my parents did do the best they could, and they did what they thought was right. And they also thought they were doing what was best like for their kid, you know, to put me in a better situation. But understanding that like, hey, what people like my parents continuing to make the decision that they made to go to move the way they move, you know, what that has resulted in when looking at communities like South Baton Rouge. Yeah,
no, that's crazy though. And what's crazy is about that is like, you know, we all have our own perspectives of things and everything like that. Especially looking back, like I don't think there's any child ever that just like loves everything their parents did. But you know, talking to my father coming up now, I respect everything that he's done because like. I can say without a doubt that he did it with the best intention in mind.
My bad. Nah, you good. Hurting for us over here.
No, but he did it with the best intention in mind. You know what I mean? Like he did it with what he thought was the best move at the time, whether it was or was not. He didn't know. You know,
the reality is, you look at, you know, people like our parents, and especially the generation older than my parents. I mean, they were moving to areas that were literally just created.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't know, like, you can't say what the experiences was going to be like for black folks, you know, in what's now, you know, St. George, because it was really being created then. You know what I mean? So, like, that's another reality of it.
Yeah, back then, like, my grandparents got married at 16. My grandma was 16. My grandpa was 18. So, it was like... Man. And she had my father at 16. No, she had my aunt at 16, had my father 3 years later. So, it was like... It was legit survival. Yeah. Like AK said, it was going to trade school back in the Gap, like straight out of high school. Well, in high school, they was in trade school. Yeah. So it was like they was going straight to work.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that, though? Like, was really wild listening to different people. Like, I was listening to the Dr. Umar interview. And even looking back, like at Southern Lab, we used to have trades and stuff in school. And they took all of that out of school.
Because it was keeping the black community afloat without needing assistance from white people.
I mean, and this the college, everybody must go to college was really, really well marketed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that was marketed and really sold to, you know, our folks of what success would be. And you know what I mean? And like, also it's like, it's almost like a reverse psychiatry of like, we literally fought to be part of it. Yeah. And like, they used it to you know, I mean, our workforce is created from the public education system. Yeah. You know what I mean? You go to work for 8 hours, you go sit at school 8 hours. Yeah. I mean, literally, there's so many similarities between how public education is and like what we wanted our workforce to be till COVID hit, like, which has now totally changed that dynamic.
Yeah. Niggas not with it no more.
Yeah, so I mean, we're living in it. I mean, we literally live. You know, it's before COVID and post COVID. Now, I mean, that's the world we live in, and like that's how you make of how things are in certain industries, restaurants. Pre-COVID, post-COVID, how restaurants handle retail. You know what I mean? Like it totally changed the dynamic of industries.
Yeah, education for sure. I said, what was that? The first episode we was talking about, that's like school's a prison. Like high school, It's a prison. Like,
I mean, people paid literally during COVID $50,000 to go to Stanford and Harvard and place to go, you know, the live stream. You know what I mean? Like, think about that dynamic. Like, wasn't much.
Well, they made some bread.
Wasn't much different than their experience than like go and take, you know, Harvard online classes.
Right.
Like, I mean, so like, how do you now keep that education priced at what it is priced at? If I can access that same stuff this kid is getting on his Zoom, you know, through going, price, you know, I mean, everyone can access that Zoom.
Right.
Yeah, and we got a homie that's in college. He throw me the link, and it's over with. You know, so how do you keep that price tag on that like that? That's real.
Nah, school should just be free all around. That's my opinion. But that ain't gonna never happen.
You know, it's great. Something. Speaking of the question, we said actually, what's to be something that people misunderstand about you? Just from like my being around you and everything like that, I think people feel like, you know what I'm saying, because of where you are and the amount of work that you do and the people you touch and everything like that, I think they feel like you'd be a more agreeable person, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Which is funny though, because like, I really respect that about you. Like, you're gonna be yourself authentically through and through. You don't care who's coming in, who you talking to.
That's
like,
me right there.
For real, like authentically himself through and through. I'm talking about first time I met him, came in, he was like, man, sit down, chop it up. Ooh, he's still doing his work. You know what I'm saying? Answer the phone call, like, let me know, and just like being his real self all the way through and through, as opposed to like. No, to quote my good brother Dr. Umar, his coon chip is not activated.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like I don't know how I could be happy having to be somebody else every day.
Yeah.
And like that's the freedom to be able to be myself is like one of the things I work my ass off for.
Yeah.
And like I mean, and that's a very important part of my like happiness. I don't want to have an avatar, like, you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean. I want to be able to do the things that, you know, I like doing. And that's what, you know. And me and Julian talk about this ton of like that's what freedom is. Like when I can live the way I want to live, spend the way I want to spend, and, you know, impact and empower those I want to impact, and like not get impacted by what typically turns into like traumas, like, you know, when you don't have grandma need to, you know, be in a nursing home, but you ain't got money to help, you know, grandma on that, like that turns into like family drama. But like if I have abundance where I can set grandma up to not even be in that situation,
right.
Like it allows me to protect my peace and like for me that's freedom.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, one of the quotes I got from you, I don't even know if you knew I was like catching this from you, but that boy said, somebody asked him something about doing something for some people. He was like, man, we spend all our lives trying to make them boys feel comfortable, man. Them boys, they gonna be comfortable. Are they gonna be uncomfortable around me if they're gonna be uncomfortable around me? Like I'm gonna be comfortable. I'm tired of trying to make them feel comfortable. I was like, man.
Was this targeted towards white people?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, and my thing is like
people in general, but you know.
You know, it's like, and that's one of the things that like I want to be able to build companies where people look like me are comfortable in being who they are, and they're able to grow in who they are, and like literally, like I mean, I've seen people in the corporate world where literally live 20, you know, work 25, 30 years, knowing they have to be someone else every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like then never being in a position of power to like be themselves, and then empower the people under them to like being able to be themselves. So it's like I'm almost empowering, like or showing the next generation to be successful that like I have to be fake. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you ain't gotta tell people all your business and have people out in your personal life, but it's like, shit, I'm gonna better come in here and know that like I'm gonna talk the way I want to talk. I'm gonna interact with the people. You know, we're gonna be, you know, feel comfortable around each other. Yeah. You know, as black people, and I think that's important.
Yeah. Make a way better work environment. Yeah. Make it feel like a family, and nothing's not forced.
No, nothing's forced at all. And then it also allows you to see, like, you know what you're gonna get who you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in the corporate world, somebody might be having a bad day, they're gonna snap, oh man, I'm sorry.
They can show their true colors.
Right, and their true colors come out. Like in here, like you're gonna get what you're gonna get, and you know it. There's no surprises. Like he is who he is. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I really, really do respect about it, and it was so dope.
Look at you, boy, having a mentee moment, boy.
Nah, bro, it was dope for real. Cause like, I mean, think about it. Cause like for me, always being in that environment, I've always wanted to, like, it's gonna sound kind of cocky, but I always knew I was gonna be wealthy, so I always knew I was gonna have to deal with certain type of people. And
don't dim your light, man. You cocky, bro.
That's real. That's real. But no, I always knew I was gonna be wealthy. So I knew the environments I was going to have to be in and the people I was going to have to be able to maneuver around. And then to see him doing that authentically as himself in those environments with those people. And I was just like, man.
Yeah, remember what he used to be? I used to be like, man, why you kind of coolness, bro?
Man, I mean, because you learn as a black person, you know what I'm saying, code switching. You learn how to code switch. You learn how to move and maneuver in those environments. And like,
you know me.
Yeah, no, but being able to see somebody actually, like, that's one thing being saying it, like, cool, you know what I'm saying, but you don't never know how somebody's going to act in that environment until they get there. And then being able to see somebody in person, like, right next to you, act 100% himself in that environment with, I don't care who it is, millionaires, billionaires, congressmen, congresswomen, like, no matter who it is, that boy is still him. I'm like,
yeah, all right, boy.
That's lit. That they're lit, boy.
Man, what is, speaking of your mentee over here, what is something that you are really passionate about that doesn't get talked about as much?
I'm passionate about, man, I love shoes. I love that. I'm definitely passionate about shoes. I do a lot of stuff with youth sports. I think too is like something I'm not, I guess, passionate and still trying to figure out, like, what's like my impact gonna be for like the black athlete. You know what I mean? I've worked in the sports management world. I have an AAU program now, a 7-on-7 program, but I can still say, like, I don't really know how that demographic that I'm so closely tied to, that like how I'm truly gonna, like, what's gonna be my impact? Like, is it gonna be, you know, investing and getting these kids and investing? Is it going to be some type of education? Like, I don't know yet. That's kind of something I'm passionate, because it's like I like figuring out those unknowns and like figuring out like a solution. Because I think the black athlete, the phenomenon that the black athlete and the amount of wealth that is blown through the black athlete is something that like I truly want to impact on that issue, but like I don't know what my solution is, and I truly don't think like my AAU program or my 7-on-17, like, I don't think that's it yet. So I'm still eager to figure out like what that solution is gonna be.
Yeah, that's gonna take a minute.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope though. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna support that for sure.
Man,
what? Because if I have a black athlete, because I do plan on having kids, shit, I'm like, hey man, you saw what AK doing over there with them black athletes?
Yeah, for
I
real.
need your ass to go pay for that program.
Yep.
Yeah, hey brother. Get in there. That's if he won't play basketball, football, or whatever. But, you know. All right, mentee.
So our next segment is this or that. You already know what it is. So give him two options and he picks out of the two. So we're going to start off something like book or movie.
Movie.
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Ooh, for real?
I knew he was going to choose that.
For real?
Most football players love basketball.
I mean, true, yeah, but, you know. Tulane or Stanford?
Definitely Stanford. Like, I just was there for grad school. I have I played, like, playing ball at a place and like what you give, like, as a football player, especially. I mean, I did 5 full years. I did my red shirt year and then 4. So like, blood, sweat, and tears went to Stanford. So and like that's where my connections are. That's the teammates I talk to. Still to this day. So definitely Stanford.
Was Andrew Luck your quarterback?
Andrew Luck was a freshman when I was a senior. So if he'd have played, we probably won a lot more games than senior year.
Yeah, Andrew, you had Richard Sherman was there too when you was there.
Sherman was Sherman was a receiver when I was there though. He still was playing offense.
Damn, man. That boy quick, huh? So residential or commercial real estate, which one do you like dealing with more?
I think, I have like no preference in it, and I think it comes to like developing, like I think commercial. Like as far as like what I would enjoy, like, you know, as far as like what you can do, like developing like single family houses on the creative side, you can't do in multifamily usually. Right. So like if it's like just like I want to do some dope shit, it's gonna be a scene, because like you can't do like, you don't see like 200 unit dope ass like loft, you know, where like we doing stone, you know, and we're doing, you know, you just can't. That has to be a single family house where you can get the most creative.
Yeah. I mean, could you do it with a commercial side though? Say money was no factor.
Yeah, I mean, but those are that demographic of people that then I'm renting or I'm renting to is like that's not where I want to be.
I feel that. All right, so crypto or the stock market?
Crypto.
He didn't even think why crypto. That boy, no hesitation.
Because I think it's the unknown, and I think the stock market is what the stock market is.
Yeah.
And we've seen, the stock market was something that was revolutionary in like the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And, and it had its purpose of what it did to like inject capital. I'm excited for people that look like us and them learning about the stock market.
Yeah.
But I think, crypto, NFTs, digital real estate, there's just so many unknowns out there that like I'm excited to be living at the time that we're developing these things.
It's basically the new stock market.
It's basically the new internet, boy. Crypto is crazy. Hey, y'all, if y'all not into crypto, go do some research right now. You can purchase digital land. You can get insurance. You can get, bro, it's wild. It's a whole nother world. Definitely go look into it for sure. All right, so then we got top 5. So top 5 real estate developers.
Top 5 real estate developers.
No particular order.
Man, I'm gonna go with like people like I know, like
cool.
it doesn't, so like, I mean, College Temple for what he showed me, as a black man, being able to own real estate. You always got to look at the legendary people like Don Peoples and stuff like that. So I think that's top of the food chain there.
Yeah.
Like what you expired onto, that's a guy that really tapped into that institutional side.
Yeah.
Jay Morrison for what he was able to do as far as the crowdfunding, bringing, pools of people that look like us together. Gotta give my guy Julian a shout out for what he's been able to do, not only on development, but I think that the special thing about Julian is like the educational side of it, and what he's been able to do, like as far as like developing his own stuff, but also empowering those people around him to, and then I'll say lastly, I love what Chris Senegal's doing in Houston, both on the, bringing pools of money, being a person that's, has, some, roots and stuff in Louisiana with going to Southern and stuff, but being able now to take that to a major city and, being, a real player, you know what I mean? But also, bringing people along on the passive side to be able to invest and empower him to continue doing what he's doing.
That's dope. That's dope for sure. Okay, so top 5. Now we're gonna go basketball players.
Oh man, Jordan's the GOAT. I mean, I grew up in the era like where Jordan. And I think I'd say people are the GOATs for different things. And I don't think one person embodies like. I mean, Jordan changed the game, and he made it a global game, and he also was the first really put like the business side along with like taking this thing global.
Right.
I think you look at LeBron in the sense of like he was that guy that like grew up in the social media era, was able to live up to the hype, and then not only live up to the hype, surpass the hype, and like real. Totally changing. Like what the game, what's thought of an athlete and what he's supposed to do, like on the business side, and and I think I even put Kobe up there in the sense of like Kobe was another one that like he did it his way, you know what I mean, business, sticking with one team, you know what I mean, like all of those things, and I think all of those things is like what made those guys like special in their own way, you know what I mean? And we said top 5. I think you got a guy that like I don't think the impact people really understand with him is Steph. And I think crazy enough, I'll tell this as a guy being in youth sports. Steph has changed the way guys play more than LeBron, and like KD. Because the other part of it is, even though he's 6'3" and that's still taller than most people, Steph is more relatable to like most people as far as
most
like,
people see themselves.
Most people. There's a lot of dudes sitting on sofas every night that think they're not, because I've seen stuff like they like, oh man, I'm more athletic than Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Like, but like you can't look at a LeBron or a KD and be like. You know, like them,
they blessed.
Them fucking dudes are unicorns. You know what I mean? Like that's literally just like physique alone, they're unicorns. Like KD's a real footer that plays like a shooting guard. LeBron is like literally like a tight end. He's Zeus playing basketball.
Right.
So I think all I got is 4 for y'all.
No, that's cool. But I mean, the 4 you got a dope, and they're dope for the reasons that you said. Being able to see, it's dope that you have the reasons behind that. For what you said, a lot of people just be like, "Man, Jordan's better than LeBron. He grew up in a different era." Blah, blah, blah.
And then this gonna be the last one for top 5 is top 5 people you played against in college that you was like, man, this nigga is good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did he play what Tavon Austin was playing?
No, man. I mean, the most special was Reggie. Reggie Bush was just Reggie was special.
He played against Reggie.
I mean, but that whole USC, it wasn't just Reggie. I would say. I mean, you probably can make a top 5 about that, just that USC team. Yeah. Like, you know, when you go Reg or you go Lindell. I mean, I remember, I think it was my sophomore year, their linebacker core was, I mean, the eyeball out that ended up playing the end on the 3-4, like the guy that wasn't talked about as much was Clay Matthews. So you had Clay Matthews, you had Keith Rivers, you had Brian Cushion, you had Ray Malaluga. That was their 4 linebackers.
On USC team.
On USC team. And they were running the 3-4. And I mean, then behind you had a couple, first rounders on the D line. And I mean, then you had Terrell Brown in the secondary at corner. Dude ended up winning first round. So I mean, that defense, they had probably 7 or 8 first rounders on it.
Damn.
That's before you even talk about like Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lindell, Dwayne Jarrett, Winston Justice, that whole,
them niggas was stacked.
They were loaded. They were loaded.
That's crazy.
They were super smart.
No wonder them niggas got investigated.
Yeah, I mean,
paying them boys mad money.
They was getting it done during. So I mean, that team alone probably was. I ain't gonna lie. One of the most impressive outside of them, the big dude from Oregon, big Samoan guy, played D lineman.
D lineman.
I can't even think of the cat name, bro. He played for the Ravens.
I know. Oregon got mad Samoans though.
He was a legend for the Ravens.
Yeah, the dude that played like nose guard for the Ravens came out of Oregon.
I know exactly his face.
Haloti Nada.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Haloti Nada.
Yeah.
Haloti Nada was one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen. Like Haloti Nada sacked our quarterback one time by throwing me into the quarterback. Real spill.
Damn. He was blocking. He had a blocking assignment.
Like you can look up some of his workouts. His workouts are the thing of legends. Like I mean, like power clean, like warm ups with like 405 pounds.
He was a top 15 pick.
Yeah, Haloti Nada was crazy, bro.
Haloti Nada was like one of the best. Like I mean, literally when he wanted to like play, there was no block. You couldn't block him. I mean, and two, Haloti, he was like also like top 5 in the country coming out of high school. Yeah. Like he was like a big deal. Ended up going to Oregon.
I think he in the Hall of Fame, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember the announcers, Haloti Nada.
Yeah, them Oregon teams were good. You had Patrick Chung, those guys. They were good, but I'm forgetting a real grown man though. Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, you play with Marshawn?
He played against.
Me and Marshawn we're the same year.
Damn.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. Even though Marshawn might be a year younger than me. No, we might be the same year though. But yeah, I played. Yeah, I mean, grown man.
No, yeah, he
real
different.
Grown man. So I would say that those are probably some of the best. Marshawn and the Forsett kid that played running back for Cal were really good. They were really good.
I could only imagine, boy. Marshawn was crazy in college. For real.
Wait, when Tavon Austin played?
Tavon Austin played like later.
Yeah.
I think he played like 10.
He kind of the goat to me.
Tavon nice, dog. You seen that little video.
He wasn't good in college, but Gronk was decent at Arizona.
Okay.
Gronk was pretty good at Arizona, but I mean he didn't become Gronk to the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but them USC teams.
And you had to run against them boys.
We had some. Those are some. And I'm thinking the kid the running back out of UCLA was super good. The little short kid played with Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, little midget guy. Man, I gotta pull this guy's name up.
What college you went to?
UCLA.
You talking about the USC linebacking core. I see why he ain't trying to get hit no more.
Yeah, they had everybody. And they playing 3-4?
Man, loaded. UCLA.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
I was thinking him, but I didn't know what college he went to.
Yeah, he went to UCLA. Maurice Jones-Drew was really good. Yeah, he was really good in college. Yeah, he was really good.
That's crazy.
Go ahead, wrap us up, one.
That's crazy. But, all right, so last thing we got for you on the show, what's a piece of advice that you would want to hear if you were somebody tuning in to this show? I mean, it could be any age group. It doesn't really matter.
Man, people, I used to say this, do what makes you happy. But I'm gonna add something to that. Be intentional about creating a life you want to live that you are able to be happy. And I think that's really important to figure out the things that like make you happy and then intentionally build your life that like you're able to do those things. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're a person that like don't getting up and going straight to work in the morning, okay, build you a life where, hey, I might not need to be there at 11 and in the morning I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna go work out, I'm gonna do some of these things that, hey, that I enjoy more before jumping straight into my work day. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if I'm a selfish person and I like, you know, worrying about working out and focusing on myself, and I might not want to have kids early. You know what I mean? I might want to have, do some of those. And so I think, being intentional about like creating that life you live that you are able to be happy.
Definitely, man. Well, we definitely appreciate you for coming out.
For sure.
Joining us on the episode of Hypothetically Speaking. It's been a great one.
I appreciate y'all, man. Anything y'all ever need, just let me know.
For sure. We'll catch you on the next episode of Hypothetically Speaking. Peace.